Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sunny Side podcast. Today, I am joined by Mark Whitehead. He is the CEO of Nday Security. I'm going to let Mark introduce himself. Mark, hello, sir. How are you doing?
Hey Finn, thanks for having me on. I'm doing well.
No worries, sir. Well, Mark, could you give the audience a bit of a summary of who you are, what you do, what you could do at your company, if that's okay, good sir?
Yeah, happy to. I'm Mark. I run Nday Security, and so we started Nday Security, two and a half years ago. Always have been in the offensive assessment space for organizations through my 2 decades of experience. But we really started because we found the inflection point with AI and the problems that needed to be solved, both for customers and then also MSSPs, et cetera. We felt right place, right time, and it was a really good way to package up an old buying behavior and make it available real time, 24 by 7, in less than a minute. So it's been very, very exciting to see the progress over the last couple of years.
Nice. So, what's kind of been your journey as the founder that's kind of led you to this point? I mean, I'm sure there must have been a moment where you thought, okay, I kind of see a bit of an opportunity here.
Yeah, so I actually took a little hiatus out of offensive security and was an executive at a bot management company. That gave me the purview of what AI attacks were going to start looking like. And so when you look at when the nice thing about being in an industry for a long time is you know all the problems from a customer's perspective, right? I used to run a team of 150 testers, 6,000 tests, 1,000 customers. The orchestration piece of that and how the customer consumes it has traditionally been painful. So me and my co-founders have a long history of dealing with escalations of customers. We're like, there's just got to be an easier way to do it.
Mm.
So the journey was really kind of right place, right time. We are very, very forward leaning on AI. We always make sure we can use it safely, but it has been such a force multiplier. When you look at the products we're able to produce, you used to have 10 or 15 million a year to go and build these things. I mean, in some regards, you're able to do it with a couple $100 accounts and really smart people that have some pillars they know they need to adhere to, safety, quality, et cetera. But once you can put those together, it's a very exciting time.
It is, isn't it? Who would actually bring you in then? Because obviously it's so yeah, who would bring you in? Because there's a lot of people like business owners who don't really understand too much about kind of what you're saying, like they would see it as jargon, etc. So who would actually bring you in? Would it be somebody who is already quite techie and kind of knows what you're talking about, or would it just be a business that would kind of bring you in?
Well, I hope we remove the barrier so I can answer this, everyone. I mean, look, the reality is every business that is doing e-commerce on the internet or some type of internet connectivity needs to have someone take a look at their organization. The traditional buying focus used to be either someone bought a vulnerability scanner, which has some pros and cons, or they would buy what is a pen test or a security audit, which were point in time. We've combined it all together. What's nice about the way we built it is we can work direct with customers, but we actually work more through our channel and our partners and MSSPs. So if you look at how we built the platform and we built it very, very scalable, it's a real force multiplier with people who already have trusted relationships with customers. So you don't have five different people saying the same thing. It's you're going in through a nice channel. But you have to you have to build that from the start
Mm.
with a core as I want that to be our go-to-market. But the answer is everybody. We have our reporting in 43 different languages. We did that by design, so we can
Yeah.
globally help any organization. And we have it so it'll run 24 by 7, and we're just flipping switches whether someone wants a point in time or a continual hacker going after the organization.
Mm.
There's a lot on the internet too that isn't directly to your organization. So think about like you've seen like you've gotten the notices where it's like, hey, your password's been compromised. Those live in out on the internet. So we go and grab them and make sure people can't target them at you, et cetera. So it really is the answer is everybody. It's just how they go and do their buying mechanic in their organization.
Nice. So do you charge like, is it like a per user? So obviously it's businesses and then you just kind of charge per user or per business, or how does it kind of work?
Yeah, so it's normally by the number of IPs that they have externally, number of IPs internally, and then we do also offer our complete system white labeled for very large organizations. If you look at it, we're the equivalent of threat actors that are breaking into you. We just made a friendly, easy product that has a business use to it. So we have people consume all different ways. We also run tests for organizations. They white label it. So, you and I, when we first talked about really how we built this from design to scale. We
Hmm.
don't have to change anything to go appease whether it's a direct customer, whether it's a indirect customer, or whether it's a team that just wants a very cutting edge capability to go take to their 10,000 customers.
That's interesting. Would it be a fair assumption that you've kind of designed it, you've built it, and it's kind of all gone exactly to plan? You haven't really had to innovate.
No, I mean, startups, nothing ever goes to plan. I
But,
mean,
but in respect that the product is exactly how you imagined it before actually putting it into the marketplace.
yes, with some caveats, right?
Okay.
Because we are AI heavy,
Yeah.
there are a couple different components to AI. You can go against the current and try and push it where it may not be cooperative, or you can strategically time when something comes online, it's the right place to inject it into your business. That's how we do it. So we didn't know when we were going to be able to turn on certain features, but you asked kind of how this came about. I still have the plans for Nday probably 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I actually had a startup that was pretty successful, but professional services back about 10, 15 years ago. But I realized the scaling problem. So I said, I'm never doing a startup that doesn't scale again and is human capital intensive, because once you have led a team of 150 testers who have very distinct personalities, is the way I would put it. You can choose whether you want to do it again or not. I would much rather let them leverage a platform than have to deal with HR and have to deal with hiring and firing and training and but no, it didn't actually all go to plan. I would say there's certain things that we saw the right opportunity. It fit in with our message. We are very heavy on our advisory unit. So I look for my mentors who have helped me throughout my career to actually join into our company and help us make sure at each level we're resonating. So we haven't announced it yet. We have a couple of very senior people that have been CISOs at billion-dollar companies that are joining our advisory board. Each spot that we go launch a product, we have a couple of different pieces we do. First off, internally, is a good idea and does it work, and we vet it. And then we're very privileged to have a number of design partners. They range from $3 billion entities down to mom and pop shops that I need to try and get a product down to $99.
Right.
And so having kind of that piece of it make sure we're kind of rapidly getting that kind of product market fit. But no, nothing went to plan. I thought this thing would probably be a lot different 2.5 years ago.
But you're still here. You're making money. It's not gone all to plan. Obviously, you've so when we had a conversation last time, you mentioned around unit economics and obviously your background in like VC and private equity. How has that kind of helped you? And I'm pretty sure you said that MSPs and MSSPs need to know that their unit economics. Could you kind of elaborate on that for somebody who might not know what that means?
Will, when you work in a professional services industry like offensive security and the pen testing and the consulting, you don't really know about unit economics. It's kind of a product talk, right? We were one of the first to realize the cost of unit economics to attack is going to crash with the use of AI. And you're seeing this. Now we're not 2 years ahead, it's happening. I think you can do a startup in a number of different ways, right? You can think 10 years ahead, you can think 20 years ahead. I like to think, can I solve a current problem? And is it still going to be a problem in 18, 24 months and I can hit that ramp?
Hmm.
Um, I've been involved in the VC world. I've been involved in the PE world. I've been involved in corporate world. I've been involved in bootstrapping world. When you decide how you're going to build a business, it directly impacts your pricing. So you have to make a calculus on, can I build what I want to serve the market with a couple of key pillars? I always like to talk about trust and safety. So those were the first things we actually tackled after we kind of had some POCs of, is it possible, right? Um, what does the spend look like on R&D? Our field is just not a very hard R&D spend right now. So we decided to make the effort initially to just go at it alone, because what it does is it allows me to pass through the best unit economics for our product to resellers. Resellers, MSSPs, everybody has to make some level of money in this to stay in business. So by us having the best unit economics for the market that we serve, it's a mutual win-win-win through the whole ecosystem onto the last client. One of the bigger complaints I have in the industry, and I was part of the problem, we needed compliance at the early start because people were putting stuff out that was crazy. People were getting breached. We've probably overreacted because I can't even keep track of all the compliances you need our services for. That's a problem, right? So we just wanted to simplify it. So I don't care the 20 reasons you need our services. I want to give you the best service that's safe and trusted at the best price, that whether you're a direct customer or you're going through our reseller, you get a win-win. We reverse engineered the nature of attacks, right? So when you hear someone get breached or broken into, or you get the notice in the mail, 9 times out of 10, these are not the hackers that you think are nation state. I mean, we saw one and it impacted a lot in the UK. Scattered Spider. They were 16 and 17-year-olds. They are taking very cheap things that are very impactful. And so we were questioning, why is someone spending $250,000 for a point in time red team is what we call it, where we are like a nation state hacker going after you. Like, why are they paying that much for it? If we can put it in a platform and make it run for you 24/7 at a tenth of the cost. So that's the whole unit economics piece. But you kind of have to go into both worlds of knowing the pain of a professional service, knowing the unit economics of a SaaS producty business to be able to make that call. If you do it wrong from the start, you're screwed on pricing.
Mm. So would you say that unit economics mainly is for product businesses as opposed to service businesses, or no?
I think in the post AI world, I don't know if I want to use the term unit economics. We're going to move to output economics,
Okay.
right? So is the output of what I created, whether it's a human or AI, what is the cost to a business? And I don't know if for 3 years, 5 years, like I said, we're very forward leaning with AI. I see a lot of people that say AI doesn't work. It's, trash. You can't. We're living proof that it works if you know and you stick to your core principles on how to do it. So I look at it this way. Is it cheaper for me to now run a penetration test, one of our core products, with a human, strictly with AI, with a combination of the both, where I'm putting labor and I'm putting compute together? This is a balancing act, right? So that's where I think whether we use the frame unit economics, or you see in 3 to 5 years we call it output economics.
Okay.
That's in the technology sector. What I think is going to be a very hot topic 2 to 4 to 5 years from now.
Really?
The closer you are to technology, the very more impactful AI has been for businesses like myself that feed into end customers.
That's actually very, very, very interesting. So when we literally just spoke before this call, you said that you had like a white glove, white label thing that MSSPs can like resell, or is that right? Or that they can like basically what have you as a partner and kind of resell your services basically and put it onto their tech stack? Is that kind of what?
Yeah, so if you look at the problem we solved for MSSPs and consultancy companies, and we have some of the largest that we're in deals with and talking with, which is
Yeah,
which makes me very happy, right? They've always had to pay for R&D. They've always had to pay for products. They've made these Frankenstein systems that don't really work. They've had to pay for a person to do it. Or just have an R&D, a research and development team that's done this work and put it together for you and made it affordable that you don't have to have that cost.
mm,
The most exciting thing for me when I get on with any customer or with any MSSP is I ask, what problem are we on for, right? Like anybody, right? A sales call is, there's a lot of noise in the market. So if someone's on a sales call, they're on, so you solve a problem.
of course.
I have not been on a single call when I identify the problem up front. I'm not able to show them how our service or platform solves it. For a white label or an MSSP, they've got to solve the client problem, which is, already existing attacks, AI attacks. They've got budget problems, right? Nobody has all the spend they all want. Very few, I would say. Um, and they've got to just run their day job, right? Like they don't really want to care about like this hacking group that's using Grok and breaking into something, right? They just want to. So what we solve for the MSSP and white label is you don't have to worry about that either. Now they really care about being able to grow revenue and able to control margin. And that's where we're able to do it for them and why we get so much success. So I'll give you a kind of an anecdotal. The previous employer I was at that I mentioned, I had 150 testers and 6,000 test thousand customers.
Hmm.
I could have 10x the revenue with that team, or I could have run that team in a different capacity and had very much better margin improvement. That's a real world problem for MSSPs and professional services that want to use white labeling. I have one deal where we showed them the capacity of what we would replace out of their organization. And over 4 years, or over 3 years, they were going to spend $4 to $5 million on how they orchestrated a system, which we called CTEM,
Yeah.
Continuous Threat Exposure Management. We showed how actually they can lease a server from us or get a dedicated server, and they're a tenth of the cost, and they have a single belly button to push to make sure their customers are delighted. So that's the power of when you build from the start, you build from your market, you control your output economics, right? That you're able to make win-wins. And once you are really good partners, you're very hard to displace from other vendors because they are coming in at a price point 3, 5, 10 times higher. So very much how we've hacked our history has been hacking computers. We also hack processes. We also hack business go to market, as you know, because there's a lot of very good money thrown to keep established companies in certain footholds. So you have to be creative on all different aspects of how you go and start a business.
It's actually really, really interesting. How do you feel like do you feel like when you had your time doing your VC private equity, how much do you actually think that's impacted your knowledge on, like, do you think without doing that, you would have been able to go to market and build this the exact way you've done it? Or do you think that is that,
Um, I think we're very unique
well, I think you're quite,
in that we are established in the industry. We chose to do it. I stepped out to see how we do it on the other side with the bot platform, which was a great experience because it was literally a flip. And I would tell you in our industry, trust and relationships are paramount.
yeah.
Um, we started very early on with some very high level board advisors. You only get those recommendations if you've done very good work and your reputation is pristine. From that, we're expanding that. We'll have an announcement probably next week with some people you'll be shocked, but they've seen the product. Each one of them has talked to our customers. And then they're like, I had one quote, and this is from a CISO, Chief Information Security Officer of two different 1 billion plus companies. He's like, do you solve world hunger too with this platform? But that's because I lived all the escalations of customers. I lived all the engineering pushback where we couldn't build it a certain way. So I think we're very uniquely positioned that we can get through word of mouth very easy to get to our first goal. The second piece you and I talked about was how you reach an audience, and we've hacked that too, right? So if you look at the amount of people we're able to get to our website, we're very easy able to control our cost of acquisition of a customer, which is the next component you really need to focus on. And I can tell you, I never even knew that term in the professional services consulting world, but you sure learn it in a product space.
Of course. Well, how could we kind of unpack how you are kind of selling this, how you are marketing this, how you kind of are like putting it into the marketplace?
Yeah, so I'm not going to talk specifics because there's some large brands we like, there's some we don't like. So we started early on with a marketing advisor, and it was very good to get us from point A to point B, but we had to kind of go hands-on and guerrilla to understand it, right? You know, I was looking at certain things to run that to get someone to our website were $9 and $10. Well, that's going to put your business out of business. And that's what these large, you know, you see the people making all the headlines with the large ranges. A lot of that is going to that. So we had to figure out how to hack that, right? We have mediums that are getting us with very, very targeted audience that if I look at my spend, $4 gets us about 5,000 people to our website through that funnel. But we got that through experimenting. We got that probably through a year of pain of like, why are we spending here? Why is this not working? People have told us we need to do this. So it's very much how we're hacking. We're also kind of hacking through the process. Marketing is a very hard, you know, KPI, you know, key indicators of success. Because it's very hard to track. Did they come because they saw a video? Did they come because they went to a conference? But all your spend, whether it's conference or whether it's digital, whatever you're doing is a cost. And what does it get you through a customer? That's where our partners have been fantastic. They already have the relationships. So now you get kind of the win-win. We're giving them the best service at the lowest cost you can actually get. We're trusted, right? And it's not just me getting on and building trust. You can see the advisors joining. You know, we're getting ready to run a really cool series that is going to be directly targeted to people who are curious. There's a lot of curiosity around what we're doing with AI. So we're just going to clear it up. But, you know, going back to the cost of acquisition of customer acquisition, you got to guard that because that is the number one thing in a large company. You see that slowdown and you see that cost grow, you got a problem with your total addressable market.
Interesting. That is very interesting. How do you kind of see AI in the future? Do you think it's going to change how you are operating, or do you think you're kind of ready to embrace the future, or how will it change?
We hedged our bets. I get on calls where you have people who hate it. And, you know, and look, you've got to convince a buyer, right? I mean, there is some level of we're seeing the news headlines about jobs. I mean, that is a very real thing. Then you've got others who are like, hey, let's just run this thing, right? We built a platform that you get to pick. So we can run it completely with a human. We can run it completely with AI. We can run it with a mixture. You can use the old level dashboard that everybody used. You can use it just in a prompt like ChatGPT and hack a whole company. If I am a betting man in 3 to 5 years, there are two components I focus on. One is, did we build an interface that is good enough that a customer is not going to want to go directly to an AI partner? because they are very good at what they're doing and they are going to monetize my industry. You see them starting to do it now. So they will, an AI company that we're working with will become a legitimate competitor. I look at, do we solve a customer problem the way they're not going to go solve it? And I think we do. Whether you want to use a human, whether you want to use it as AI, whether we gravitate towards, where AI bots just take care of the whole thing, we're safe. Also, how much it costs to compute and stay in market is something we've been very focused on. Little secret sauce on that, that I'm not going to go into on this, but I feel very comfortable that with all those external threats of the companies, with the AI, and they can run and be a profitable entity for many years to come. That's the part that I didn't expect. You asked me what didn't go to plan, what went to plan. The whole time it was like, can you just get a company in our space to run itself? Right? I mean, that was the end goal that you know how you have these businesses, you hear people, they're like, hey, it's me and 5 virtual employees. And I believe them, right? Because I'm seeing it. We didn't know if you could apply it in this space, right? Because you basically, if you look at what we built, it's 20 years plus 20 years plus 100 years of advisors into a portal that is going to stand the test of time as I see it, because I don't quite understand in my mind in the next 10, 15 years what's beyond AI, right? We got quantum computing, but it's not as impactful, you could argue, in this space. So that was the whole goal, is just build a experience for a customer or for an MSSP that whoever wins this battle, we're well positioned for.
That's really interesting. Going forward, as you kind of grow and scale then, so you said that your company will mainly kind of run itself, or that's the goal. Do you think you're actually set to do that, or do you think you're going to have to make some like strategic hires and bring some more people
on? That is a TBD question, and I think that also depends on your outcome, right? I think you can automate 99% of it now, and I'm living a lot of that. The buying behavior hasn't changed, so there is a level of still getting out and talking to customers. You're not in the, they're hitting ChatGPT, finding you and buying a product yet, but we have bets that if that is the buying behavior, we built that into the company. We have a company that can buy online. They could buy $1 million from us online. Think about that, right? If you're breached, like, do you really want to go mess with a contract and no, just buy it. You're good. So I believe that when you get to a certain size, there are probably aches and pains. I also think if you built your company before AI, you're at an advantage because of your customers and your moat, as they like to call it. You're at a disadvantage because the long-term cost to transition that to a flat business like us is a lot challenging. A lot of the very good companies that we compete with, and we're winning deals from publicly traded companies right now. They're going to keep their customers, they're going to keep Frankensteining features in, but is it a seamless experience? And is it the way that I just kind of talked about flowing and user experience? No, they're clunky. They look like crap. If we get the newer customers and they realize it, they're more likely to switch. The bigger ones, I think, just are going to have a longer cycle in this. And look, I have one guess in it. I read one article, IBM is hiring entry level. I read another article, entry level is going to die. I think Microsoft said we're all going to be out of business in 18 months. Like I said, how we built the platform, I can accommodate each way it goes. And we can do that because we just got down to the root of the cost to accomplish the mission for our company, for our customers, and our partners. But you have to really build that with a very specific DNA to your company. Cool. We're not flashy. We actually want to be famous for powered by Nday. I don't really want people to know Nday's name. We have some very great partnerships. We got another one we're announcing probably in about 2 weeks for finalizing. They have very, very crazy technology, and we're the delivery system now. And so it would be targeting actually very advanced simulations of attacks using 0 days and stuff like that. So I think the nice thing is I don't have a dog in the fight of how it turns out. I can keep the business, the customers, and the partners happy however
Which is important.
it is.
It's an exciting time to be Nday right now, isn't it? I feel like there's a lot going on. I mean, just before we wrap up, I mean, in the next 3 to 5 years, I mean, have you got any milestones or anything that you want to achieve? Where do you kind of see Nday?
It's very interesting. I will know the outcome when the outcome is presented. I started this because I wanted to with people that I like to work with. If you ever get the privilege in life to do that, it is the most amazing experience.
Yeah.
My co-founder, my advisors, everybody in this. I mean, we text each other, we hit up a phone, like a deal hits, we're celebrating. We don't take enough to celebrate. We always joke, we're always like, hey, that's great. What about this? But that's the startup mentality. I don't have a crystal ball. I think we have built what the future of, I don't know if you'd say offensive security or cybersecurity companies are, if you know exactly what you're doing and you adhere to your pillars. But I think whether it's we stay alone for the next 20 years, whether the right partner comes and sees the value benefit. I mean, we have partners right now that have 20,000 customers, right? I mean, at some point, they're probably not going to want us doing it for the competition, right? But we don't have a real goalpost on that. I just want to have fun with my friends with my time on the planet. I wanted to solve some problems. And I wanted to keep customers happy and build relationships that aren't contentious. And that's literally what we're doing right now.
Good mentality that. Well, listen, Mark, it's a great vision you've got. I've actually really enjoyed this conversation. I've learned a lot. For the audience, if they do want to get in touch with you or learn a bit more about Nday, where can they find you, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're a little old school in that regard. Just hit up our website, ndaysecurity.com. We actually put some emphasis in. You can see the problem you have and how our products actually go and fix it. We have a spot that specifically for MSSP and the white label that you can see how it applies to you. But I'm on LinkedIn, probably easiest way. I mean, I get 100 of them a day, half of them from bots and stuff.
Yeah.
But feel free to reach out via website or LinkedIn.
Nah, thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate you coming on. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.